A question I get asked pretty often is, especially since uh, the reappraisal runes have been coming out, that how can we farm the rifts efficiently? This is how for the fire rift. This is what I use. I think what's key to use for most people are to have 3 AoE units. If you have double AoE units, such as Zeros or something like that, use that instead. You only need, but I think it's really important that you have 3 AoE skills, just because the AI is dumb. They won't keep the the AoEs up for when you need it. Sometimes they're going to use it when just the boss is up and not the minions, and that's the important thing about the rift here, that we need to make sure that we kill all these little minions that spawn out every time. The first 2 rounds are generally pretty quick. It's just the 3rd round is where you're probably going to have to fight 3 spawns of them, and you need to have your AoEs up pretty quickly. So you want 3 units that that have AoE and on relatively short cooldowns. I would say 4 turn cooldown is okay. 3 is great. 4 turns okay. 5 is really pushing it. You really want to have probably on 4 turn cooldowns. Really good choices for that are Sigmoris is good. Julie is pretty good. The Fire Samurai June is pretty good. Those are pretty much the best farmable options. Lapis is okay if you put on a damage build. Tyrone can be Tyrone's double AoE. If you put him on an crit damage attack build, his AoEs do enough damage to kill the ads. Those are probably the most common. If you have not 5 choices, use those. Any non-wind unit, AoE unit will be fine. That does damage. So we're not talking. You can't use Veramosa's Stomp. That's generally not going to be good enough. Not something like Basalt. Those AoEs generally don't do enough damage to kill all the ads. So you have to do decent damage. You want, again, Julie's a really good choice because outside of her AoE, she does really good single target damage. Theo, you also want a couple of single target damage dealers, just because you want to just be able to deal as much damage as possible, and you want an attack buffer and a healer. So I'm going pretty much Colleen as my solo healer and the attack buffer. Other choices for healer are probably Chasun or Hwahi. I think those are really the best choices because they bring the attack buff. As long as the heal, Hwahi's better because Hwahi scales off her attack, so she's putting out pretty good damage as well as keeping your team alive. But outside of that, it's really about just bringing single target damage dealers. I use the Warder Anubis because he has pretty good runes for me. Theomars is just one of my most well-runed attackers, and Theomars also brings armor break, so that's why he's there. The Anubis brings branding. Branding's not that important to bring to here. So you can use someone like Stella as another choice if you have that. Other good anyone that does brings armor break and the elements that you want. So whatever single target attacker that you have that does the most damage will work. You could even use something. You just don't use Lucian. Like I said, Stella is fine. Water Kung Fu Girl is fine. If you have any really, even Tark's a good. Yeah, we'll use Tark here to show that. Tark's a good option too because he reduces the cooldowns of the people he brings in, so he's also helping to reduce the cooldowns of some of the AoE units. If you don't have 3 AoE units, you can bring an attack bar buffer or even something like Mav to help with the cooldown reductions. It doesn't work as well as having a 3rd AoE unit, but it helps to make sure that the cooldowns are hopefully down often enough where you can keep the ads from popping up on you. Again, he also provides a speed buff, but the only problem with someone like Mav is he provides very little damage. Most likely, if you have Mav built, he's built for TOA, and that build is generally has no damage. It's going to be on a speed HP build or HP defense, and he doesn't provide much besides the speed buff and the Wings of Wind. But that is a very valuable skill to bring, so I'll show you a run with that after this one here. And that's really what you want to be bringing. You want your healer to be on really fast, probably about 200 speed. I put her on the front line because all the units in the back are very squishy. Colleen's built for rage, so she has a little bit of HP. It's not on a defense. It's not on a huge build. It's just HP, speed, HP. And Theomorse is up there because he has Endure, so if we do take lethal damage, he has at least another turn before the back line gets hit for a lot of damage. If you don't have a Theomorse, you may want something a little bit tankier up front. But you want to make sure that you're doing good damage. So you want anything that probably scales off HP or defense. That's a good single target nuker for that point. That's how you want to build your front line. You can treat it like Rage and go 4-man front line, but generally I think most of the units you're using back here are going to be fitted for as much damage as possible, so they're not going to have the ability to tank out damage. So you want to keep your front line or whatever you can. So probably a healer. Again, Chasun or Colleen or Huahi are the three I feel the best options for frontlining or for healers for rifts, for the fire rift specifically. Chasun, I prefer Colleen over Chasun, even though Chasun's heals are better. That Colleen has a 3-turn attack buff versus the 2-turn from Chasun, so that's a pretty big difference. Alright, so, and then we'll try this with Mav right now. Because, you remember, your whole goal here is about pumping out as much damage as possible. If you're not able to kill the boss, don't worry about it. If you get to the second wave and the third wave, if you're not able to kill for the third wave, just look to pump out as much damage as possible. You can get A rank as long as you get, I believe, over 1.8 million. I'm not sure on that number exactly, but somewhere along that line, 1.8. Where's Mav? Oh, there he goes. So you can get over 1.8 million without killing the boss. You can't get above, I think A+ is the highest you can get without killing the boss. Anything over 2 million is A+ without killing the boss, and then if you kill the boss, then you can get S rank and above. So right here, what we're going to be watching, I should have did this with 2 AoE units with Mav. So that's what you want to be able to do, just because with the cooldowns for Mav, he also, while he doesn't pump out his own damage, he allows the rest of your team to do more damage. So he's a support unit that does that. I understand he's a win unit in the fire rift, but again, he's generally built tanky, so he's going to survive. And his damage is not important. His support is what's important. If you don't like using Mav, you can use something like Bernard. You can use Verd. I find them to be a little bit less efficient. Bernard might be okay, just because Bernard also provides a defense break. But the amount of turns he gets kind of makes up for the attack bar push is not equivalent to Mav's cooldown reduction, but it's pretty close. All these units basically are built as attackers. Theomorse is on Violent Will. Julie and my Water Monkey King here are both on one's Fatal Rage, one's Fatal Blade, other's Rage Blade. And Okeanos is on Violent too. Okeanos is on Violent Speed Crit Damage Attack. Again, you just want to make sure that your AoE units can do enough damage, and that you are able to enough damage all around. And you want to make sure that crit rate is pretty much close to 100%, because if you miss one of these adds, they can do a lot of damage. So if you just miss a crit on one and they survive afterwards, that's going to cause you to wipe, and you don't want that. So you really want 100% crit rate on any non-water unit and 85% crit rate on any water unit. If you have to use a crit rate leader to get those stats, that's fine. Leader skills that you want to prioritize, I feel attack's most important. Crit rate, attack, and then speed. You would really hope to get one of those three as your leader skill. Shouldn't be too hard. Really, I think crit rate's probably going to be the most common. For the single target damage dealer, if you don't have it really doesn't matter which one you want to use. You can use, like you said, before I was using the Water Anubis. You could use Stella. You can use any really high damage dealer. And this is a pretty consistent S rank, SS. Sometimes I get triple S, I believe. So I'm going to do this with only 2 AoE units, and we'll go with another single target damage dealer. Why is he not going in there? But yeah, this is how I do the Fire Rift, and like I said, any unit that has 2 AoEs are really strong. Rika's really good. Zyros, Alicia. Alicia's probably one of the best for this Rift out here, actually. You know, and any really, if you only have one, you know, even something like Beth is really good. You know, just use whatever you have access to. If not, you know, the Dark Bomb is decent. The Dark Cabal Bomber is decent. What other AoE units are there? Any of the Samurais, I think, are pretty good. The one we just had the Hall of Healers for is pretty good. For here, if you don't have one built, it's an option. You, like I said, you just want to make sure you have AoEs up all the time, just because they will wipe. It will be pretty tough. As you can see, it works really well. It's pretty consistent. At worst, you should at least be able to get to the third wave. The third wave, you have 1, 2, 3. Those ads can pop up 4 times, so you really need to have the AoEs up for that 4th run. It's not often that's going to happen that often, but you want to make sure that if it does go that long, you want to be able to do it. I believe single heal is the best way to go about it. You don't need a lot of heals to keep up with the damage here. As long as you kill the ad, you're not going to be taking a lot of damage, so you don't need to go double support. You don't need to go double healing. But you need to have, you know, you do need single healing at least. I don't think you can go YOLO. I don't think you can sustain enough damage unless everyone's on Vampire. And I don't think anyone really has full Vampire damage teams. That you can do this without having a healer and be successful. So single healer again: Colleen, Hwahi, Chasun. In that order, I would go with. And I think most people, if you're working on Rift, should have Colleen built for R5, R4, R5 anyway. So look at her; it's very, very important. For the Rifts, ideally she should be violent. Mine's on full revenge for Rage, I believe. So it's not the ideal situation, but even then, it's good enough. As you can see, these ads have been getting killed as soon as they popped up because Mav's keeping the Water Monkey King's cooldown as a 3-turn normally. So with Mav, it's basically 2, and Julie on a 4-turn cooldown. So with Mav, it's basically 3. So that's really doing enough to keep the AoEs up. Colleen died here, so we may not be able to finish that. And as you can see, if you don't kill those ads, that's what happens. Again, 3 AoE is really what you should be aiming for to keep this out. 2 is not enough to hold out, it looks like. Mine barely, this run right here barely worked out. But let's see if we even finish it out. No, we didn't finish it. But it was pretty close. And that's 2.6 million out there. A+ rank. Okay. That's the highest you could get without killing the boss. Alright guys, let me know if that was helpful. Leave some comments below. Let me know if you need any more help, advice. I'll be willing to help you guys out. I'll see you guys in the next video.